I'm very, very honored to finally have, got a chance to introduce myself to you. I'm glad took notice of my work. I've been watching a lot of your content a long time, and I personally acknowledge you as the king of content. Everything that we doing out here, you definitely been doing it on the highest level for a long time.
Hey, I appreciate that, my brother. I really do. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Nah, I appreciate that, my brother. I really do, man. Yeah, I've been checking you out, especially over the last year. I see you doing a lot of things, man. A lot of exclusive stuff.
Trying to legitimize my brand, technically. That's what you've been seeing. Yeah. I'm trying to really, put some polish on what I got. You know what I'm saying? I feel that what I got is raw. And I look at your content. I look at some of the other guys who've been doing things for a minute, and I really want my finished product to look good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still a student of this, and I'm honored to have finally met you. If you don't mind, could you go ahead and give an introduction to my listeners? Tell them exactly who you are, and something about your brand.
Sure. Well, I'm known to the world as Kraze, the king of content. My government is James Billings. I've been affiliated, associated, certified with the music industry for about the last 2 decades. Back in 2000, for some of those that, I know you got a lot of younger listeners, I came up with a product called All Access DVD, which the music industry embellished and started calling new media. So we was very innovative. I was very innovative early and sparked a whole legion of young entrepreneurs grabbing cameras, going out and creating content and understanding that they can build a business from it. So in a nutshell, that's kind of who I am, how I kind of got my accolades, and how most people know me through the music industry. I was at one point the go-to guy for the exclusives. So, in the elevation of magazines like Double XL, Vibe, and Source, we took it to the next level and did everything on DVDs. When that whole DVD era was popping, they considered me the godfather of the DVD magazine era.
Facts.
So that was my first real big break.
Dang, man.
Just like you, my brother.
I forgot you did All Access. Man, All Access was so top shelf. That shit was almost like a pop DVD. You had such high level. The guys that you was filming, man, like these ain't niggas that you could just walk up on. Like, yeah. You had the Flow Riders and you had big guys on there, real big guys on there, way back then.
Right, and this is 2000. So how it kind of worked for us is we put our grind in, hard body. And we got a lot of respect from a lot of the, of course, all of us are from different parts of the country, different parts of the boroughs. I'm from Long Island, Brentwood, Long Island. My hood was called Regis Park. Anybody that know about Long Island and Brentwood know that ain't no walk in the park. No pun intended, but ain't no walk in the park. So for me, coming from Long Island, I always had a chip on my shoulder because the boroughs always act like, we were soft or something. So when I did what I did, I just came with a vengeance with it. That's all. I wasn't taking no for an answer, and I was just live and direct with creating my brand, which everyone calls now. But yes, at that time, when artists came to see MTV and flew into town to do MTV, TRL, or Rap City, they gave me a phone call.
Yep.
Said, yo, we gonna be here and we need to get up with you. It was just like that. No more complicated than that.
Word. Yeah, you definitely had a definitive link to the industry, man. I always took note of I always copped them joints, always played them from start to finish, and I knew that I was gonna have to do some traveling if I wanted to exist in this business, and that's why my platform today is Gully TV Global. I move around the U.S. and abroad, you know what I'm saying, if my budget affords it, and based on, you know what I mean, examples set from you. Can you I noticed that you got a lot of vintage content, always. Now, is that attributed to the fact that you from Long Island, or is it your age and demographic, like you knew these guys from coming up in the business?
Well, to be honest with you, when I came into the game, I was 26 years old. Mostly everybody that came in, like Smack and French and all those dudes, they were about 4 or 5 years younger than me. So they was in their early 20s, and I was kind of in my late 20s. You know what I mean? So I was already like considered the OG. But nah, I grew up in Brentwood, Long Island. I grew up with Eric and Parrish, EPMD, Craig Mack, Keith Murray, Biz. So when they was popping in the early 80s, mid 80s, I was like 14, 15 years old and seeing them. I was an artist back then. So we used to all be in the same studio.
Right.
They'll come in, I'll see them working on their first album. So, and we lived in the same neighborhood. So I knew those guys already, but they wasn't the reason why I popped. So to answer your question, the vintage content, no, I didn't have no real ties to anybody. That was just how you doing it now.
Yeah.
How I did it back then. Got solid with a lot of people. People liked my character, how I was, how I carried myself, and they showed me a lot of ample love, and that's what kind of extended my life in that business.
Word. Do you have a signature, you know, a racehorse video? I mean, I call them racehorses because mine's are monetized, so I call them racehorses. If I hit a home run and it take off, you know the type of video I'm talking about. Do you have a signature one?
I mean, I recently did an interview with Daddy-O from Stethosonics, and he said Rakim never represented where he was from. Now, you know, when I do these interviews, I let the artists talk because I don't try to like cut them off, try to put my viewpoint in it. But lately, that's the one that kind of been shaking a little bit. You know, we did some decent numbers. I think we about 325,000 views on that. I put that up about a month ago. So, you know, as recent, yeah, but I mean, I broke a lot of stories, man. I was the first one to bring Gucci Man to New York as far as content-wise. Like, I was up on a lot of shit before a lot of cats. Can I curse on here? No.
Yeah, this Gully TV, my nigga.
Gully, I know, you know what I mean? Sometimes I be on my professional shit, Gully.
Right. Nah, this organic over here, man. We straight, man.
That's what's up.
We good.
So, yeah, man, you know, I established myself with the DVD by breaking a lot of stories and interviews and getting a lot of exclusive stuff that no one could get. I was very good at. That's a God's gift that I still have today, that people are willing to talk to me. So there's several things, but as of lately, it's the Daddy-O joint.
Okay. I like a variety of your content, man. You got a whole body of work, and the lockup series. What's it called?
Prison X.
Prison X. Pardon me. Prison X. Yeah. How did you come up with the concept for that? I see a lot of people mimicking that. My respect for your craft is the only reason that I ain't do one of them joints, because I coulda, man. I coulda just did that like nothing, just asking just people around me and shit like that. But nah, that shit lane, you killing that, and I love the way you put them shits together, man. So Yeah, how did you come up with the concept? What made you go there?
I'm, I'm a dude from the streets originally, and when I say the streets, we all come from that fabric. Not all of us, but some of us. We come from those hard backgrounds of the single parents, living in the bad neighborhoods, being around a lot of negativity. And so a lot of my friends, the people I grew up with, felons. A lot of them were 10 years, 5 years, 15 years, 20 years, 18 years fed. So a lot of the guys I was rolling with, now, that was not me. I was in, the most time I did in jail was like 4 months. Local shit. So I never went upstate or nothing like that. But my company that I kept, was hardcore, felons, and we would be in the car and they always tell these stories. But it would only happen if somebody else was in jail. So they wouldn't just be talking about it. They'd be like, oh, yeah, what about that Jack Mac and this, that, and the third, and this happened and such. And I would be like, damn, this shit is crazy. The shit that they talking was crazy to me.
Right.
And I was like, man, I just need to put y'all on camera while you're telling these stories. And kind of that's how it birthed. And so I think about 7, 8 years ago, I started it up. It did very, very well. I had a lot of signature shit that I did, man, that was really dope, man. I mean, my background is extensive. So this interview is going to give you and your viewers a lot of insight on me. I was the turnkey to a lot of shit, And I'm not just saying that. The proof is in the footage. You can see it. You know what I mean? I was there. So that's how Prison X started. Just a group of guys I was around. They would always tell these stories while we would ride from Long Island into Manhattan. And I would be intrigued by these stories, missing my stops and all kind of shit. And I'm like, yo, I need to put y'all on tape. And so a couple of them let me put them on tape. And felons, no other felons. But, my brothers, back in the 80s, my brother Bay, and my brother King. My brother King just died last year. He did 22 years in jail. And it's not to highlight what they did, but I'm the reason why those kind of people around me is just part of how I grew up. So my brother passed away last year. He did 22, died in jail. My brother just got hit again. He did 40. So next time he come up for parole, it'll be 42 years. So when a lot of these guys talk about jail, I lived it on both sides, being the family member that's been going up, taking care of your family for 20. Between both of them, they did 60-something years. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm going to do a story. I'm going to do a movie, a biopic movie about my brother that's locked up now, did 40 joints. He had 20 to life. He did his 20 years, and the board hit him for the last...
Damn.
20 years, 2 years. I mean, they gave him another 20. So that's considered double life. Because, life in prison is considered 20 years.
Yeah.
That's what they consider life.
And that's
so
in New York State.
They just hit him again in July. He went up for parole, and this will make 42. So when he come back now, it'll be 42 years that he's locked up. So shout out to Bay up in Woodburn. You know what I'm saying? And I still send packages. I still send my brothers, money, and I got a lot of ties to people like that. So I know how hard it is for people to stay in communication with them. But Gully, I appreciate it. But that's how it came about. The people I had around me.
People in the comments, man, they be on your top about them joints. They be wanting more.
Yo, when you coming out with them?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, could I tell you a quick story about Judge Mathis?
Sure. Judge
Mathis approached me several years ago about taking Prison X to TV. So for a long time, they, because the relationship and the liaison, the people that I was dealing with Judge Mathis, he was building his production company. He seen value in what I was doing. And they didn't want me to put out the joints no more. just build up the content.
Okay.
Kind of fell through, so I stopped doing it. I didn't stop actually filming them. I just stopped putting them on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, one thing I realized is you can't really put your eggs in somebody else's basket. You got to create your own basket and get your own chicken.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I say that to say, like, you know, never again will I kind of put myself in that scenario, because I had a strong thing going at the time. And it sort of made sense. There's no disrespect to Judge Mathis, because he was, you know, the intentions were good, but it just never really materialized.
Word. Yeah, that Prison X is dope. The man, the narrator, it's just crazy. It's crazy, bone chilling. You gotta know somebody, man. You got all that good Juice Crew history. You trying to act like you don't know nothing, man. You gotta know something, man. I'm trying to figure this out, man. I be just sitting there watching. I be telling my boys, yo, man, did you see the Fly Tie joint? Man, Cool V said the nigga lying, man. This shit is crazy, man.
Right.
We be watching them joints, man. I love them joints. That era, I was a kid. I probably was in like elementary school, but I had an older brother, so I was hip to what was going on.
Right. Nah, I mean, you know, I developed over the last year. See, God has blessed me because, you know, I do the untold stories of, and these documentaries I do on a lot of the artists from the mid '80s to the to '95. So from '85 to '95, I cover a lot of the artists because I felt like they had these incredible stories, and they were the bricklayers to hip hop. But at the time, and even now, you can't really go back and learn anything about them because there's nothing out there. There's nothing out there on X-Clan. There's nothing out there on Yo-Yo. There's nothing out there on MC Light, like documentary that we can watch and learn how they got on and how important they was to hip-hop and what they brought to the table. So about 4 years ago, I decided to do my own version of Unsung, so to speak. And I said, I'm going to do it online. And, you know, I didn't, once again, you know, I know people, but I didn't know them like that. So my whole intention was, I'm going to create a narrative, tell a story, and I was just going to do it without the artist. Just kind of take footage that I found on YouTube, put it together, and tell a story. And that's how I started.
Right.
And I did, the first one was on Biz Marquee. And I put the trailer out, and it went viral. Like, every major website grabbed it, to the point where, now I know Biz, I grew up with Biz, but I haven't spoken to him in years. Then out of nowhere, Biz calls me like, yo, what's up with this? You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of my things happen that way. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's organic, so it happens on its own. But that's something that I just signed a production deal with a major production company out of LA to bring that to a bigger platform. So I'm excited, man. I've been watching some of your stuff. I hear you talking about the Roku and the Amazon and all the things you get ready to get involved in, and that's the way to go. That's what, you know, I'm on that path as well.
I'm real excited about that because there's so many people, you know, putting I don't know, 2 cents into doing this online content thing now, that I figure that, you know, that legitimizes me in a way if I'm on, you know, Amazon and Roku, Hulu, you know, the different streaming platforms as well. So I'm looking forward to that, man. I can't wait. It's actually any day now. Any day now.
And I'm on Roku now. I got a few channels on Roku. I'm a few channels on Amazon. We get ready to be on Apple TV,
right,
Google Chrome, and
right,
PlayStation View, and Android TV. You know, that's one thing that I do. I look at where the market is going, and I try to get there early. So this year makes a year. I started last December, not 2018, but 2017. In December, I started my channel, and I hooked up with a company that was developing them. And shout out to my man Mike Spiegel, who is a great partner to have. And he showed me something that I wasn't even paying attention to. And right now, I'm in a very, very great space. you know, in regards to like just having the channels, being able to see what my work can do for me. You know, it's a great space to be in. So I commend you for even knowing to even go that way.
Yeah, man.
The market.
I feel like literally, man, like, cause I've started to navigate around and be amongst different directors and stuff like that, and I'm like, man, I gotta get me a new light. I gotta get me a new tripod. Like, I'm on that level, man. I'm enamored with the whole situation, but I was totally fixated on getting my work on to, like, you know, the streaming platforms, because my mom, my family, some of them they don't understand what it is that I do. They just look at me as Jamil. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. And you know what I mean? They be seeing me taking trips and, you know, toting around cameras, and they don't know. They don't have no clue the type of shit that I be having in my MacBook affects the world. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For real.
Right.
So yeah, man. I want to get on. You know, I can't wait, man. It's really any day now. I had to resubmit my file into a ProRes file. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you already familiar with these terms, but these terms are all they're all new to me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I had to resubmit, and I got a call, and they like, man, just any day now. Just be patient. You cool. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just looking forward to it, man. I'm trying to get on y'all level, for real. Straight up.
What do you want me to call you, Gully or Jamil? How you want me to address you,
You, Jamil. You got to know my first name. My name is Jamil Lindsay.
Okay, so I'll address you as Jamil. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of my history, because I broke down a few things, but there's a few important things I want people to understand. One is, I started exactly how Jamil started right now. The way he started, I started like this in 2000. Remember, it wasn't a whole bunch of people running around at that time with cameras, so it was a little more exclusive. You know, everyone didn't see the value in having a camera and filming. You know, they thought it was like kind of corny to a degree. Like,
right.
Oh, you know, you running around filming people. I remember people telling me that. You running around filming people, like, that's something. But, you know, I always seen something. So I'm saying all that to say this. You know, when I started my business in 2000, about 2003, 2004, is when I got my first big deal. And I had a deal with Koch. They were very interested in signing my project All Access DVD. And so at the time, Koch figured out like this was the new medium, because people like Mano, Uncle Murda, Gucci Man, Young Jeezy, they were all using these DVDs to build their awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And these DVDs weren't staying local. You know, they were going across the country. And once people start realizing that we had some power, they started to take notice. And so, like you said, mine was more the pop. I chose to keep my stuff clean. I chose not to do certain things, like show guns and certain things on mine, because I just felt like me coming from a certain era and being aware of certain things, I didn't really want to be involved with the demise of people by showcasing certain stuff. So I chose not to have everybody pointing their gun in my camera. I wasn't with that, and I told them, you know, I'm very upfront with people too. So, you know, I'm not like a easily influenced guy that you can tell me, you know, you're gonna do this. That's never been a way people approach me.
Right.
And so I think I established a lot of my credibility just with that alone. But I wanted to say that the whole thing with E1, I ended up getting a TV deal in 2006. But my first big situation was E1. E1 came, they wanted to offer me a deal. That's when the diplomats was buzzing over there. They were signing all the independent people. And then they said, we're going to go for these young black filmmakers and film producers and content producers. And so I walked away from that deal and ended up doing a deal with Stars. Smack ended up doing.
So Harlem, man. Harlem. I be in Harlem, man. The only thing moving, man. Keeping the game up. 40th. Harlem.